What is happening, everybody? Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome, and thanks for joining me today. Having a little bit of technical mayhem going on, so I'm a little bit later than I intended to get started today, but I wanted to talk about really, it's a skill. It really is a skill, and that skill is learning when to, if you make a mistake, truck on through, and when to stop and fix it. And it's really there's two different scenarios. And I often sort of liken this to, athletes who they have, practice time where they work on a certain skill and they hone it and everything. And then there's game day where, they go out and they do whatever that thing is. And if they blow it, well, they just got to keep on going. And the same is true when you play music. Okay, so let's say, for example, that you are, working on a lick. And I'm just playing some random notes, so, don't hold me to this, but it could be anything. And, when you're practicing it at home, it's, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, for example, and I'll never play that the same way again because I never can. But let's say that you're practicing it and you make a mistake. Okay, well, you're practicing it, you're counting, you're doing it slow, you're breaking down segments and you're trying to get it to the point where you don't make mistakes, at least not very often. So it's very crucial the first several times that you play through a new thing, be it a lick, a chord progression, a strum pattern, it doesn't matter what it is. When it's brand new to you, it's extremely important for the purposes of, your brain starting to get used to this new thing that you're asking it to do. It's extremely important that you don't make mistakes, that you do it as slow as you need to do it so that you can count it, and be very precise and very calculated and very accurate for those first several times at least. That's really, really important. It's the old joke, you always take the same way to the outhouse, which was, back in the Old West days, if you had to walk out back and it was the middle of the night and it was dark, you didn't want to miss. You don't want to wander off, right? So you always took the same way to the outhouse. Same thing. We want to consistently play it without making mistakes, okay? But of course, there's going to come a time when you're going to try to maybe increase the speed or try to incorporate it with other things, and those mistakes are going to happen, and that's okay, okay? It's to be expected. It's part of the learning process. What's important is how you handle it, okay? So when you are practicing the new thing that you're working on, and you are going at a slow tempo and you are not attempting to push yourself on the speed, okay, and you make that mistake, that's when you want to stop and you want to kind of maybe analyze why you made that mistake. What happened? How can you correct it for the future? Perhaps it's a picking thing, perhaps it's a fingering thing, perhaps it's a muting thing. There could be a variety of reasons for why you made that mistake, depending on the thing that you're doing. So obviously I can't get into it here because it would totally depend on what you're doing. But then there's going to come a time when you're going to be trying to increase the speed. And if you use my speed bursts idea, which is basically that I always suggest that you play something at a comfortable pace where you don't make any mistakes 7 or 8 times, and then you play it a few times too fast, much, probably 20 clicks faster than you normally would. When you do that, you are going to make mistakes. But what's important is that in those times that you don't stop for those mistakes. Okay. Likewise, let's say you're playing with a jam track or you're playing a song. Okay, well, that's not practicing, that's playing. And it's difficult to learn the skill of plowing right on through even though you made a mistake. It's actually a very challenging thing to do. we're so hardwired, a lot of us, to stop and just completely, I made a mistake, and but you can't. The band's not going to stop, right? Everything else is going to still go on. And the better you can train yourself to be comfortable when you make those mistakes, the better off you'll be able to handle them when they come along. And I will be the first to admit, I have stood on the Disneyland Tomorrowland Terrace stage and played a chord a half step off in front of, a huge crowd of people. It happens. We all make mistakes. It's how you handle it that's going to matter, right? So if you don't make it a big deal, it won't be a big deal in all likelihood. Okay, now if you get totally lost, that's going to be a different thing entirely. But the better you get at handling those situations where you've made a little mistake, the less often it's going to cause you to get completely lost, and it's going to make a train wreck. Okay, so when you're practicing, obviously, and you're going slow and you're focusing on something, if you make a mistake, stop and try to figure out why. But any other time, when you're pushing the speed, or when you are playing it, say with a jam track, and you're playing it, not practicing it, but playing it, there is a difference. When you're playing it, push yourself to not stop. Keep the count going. Counting, this is again one of those situations that counting can make a big difference. So if you're doing the counting, you're going to keep with it. The counting is going to continue, and you'll be all right. Right? So that's what I want to suggest to you today. And really, that's about it. I mean, it's kind of a small one, I realize, but it's an important point. And yeah, and yeah, and I'm and if yeah, Michael, somebody is reminding me of a time when I might have had to make a correction at a live event. That was a funny day. But anyhow, that's really all I have for you today. It's an important point though. So when you're practicing today, keep this in mind. When you're playing slow and carefully, be slow and careful about it. When you're not, don't be slow and careful. If you make a mistake, you got to plow right on through it. It's a very important thing. Okay. So, as always, if you are interested in the Blues Guitar Unleashed All Access Pass, you get access to every single thing. I realized yesterday that I think I posted up the 58th or 59th live session that we've done so far in that. So there's a lot of great material there on recording and fingerstyle. We did a fingerstyle guitar one this month. All kinds of fun stuff, fun extra stuff that we do in the All Access. Of course, if you haven't downloaded your free How to Jam PDF, I encourage you to do that. And if you do not get my emails, go ahead and jump on the email list. Sign yourself up for that. I know you won't be disappointed. And past that, I will see you real soon. I hope you have a great day today. Keep this in mind when you're practicing, and take care, and I will talk to you soon.